What's up everyone? Today I want to give you a quick review of the Keychron K1 wireless mechanical Bluetooth keyboard for Windows and Mac. So here is the K1 in front of me. Now you can see I opted for the 104 key version. Basically what that means is that you get this extra number pad on the right side over here. So this is a Bluetooth keyboard compatible for Mac and Windows. And if we take a look on the back here, you can see that you have options for switching between Windows/Android and Mac/iOS. So I have a Mac, so I'm on the Mac iOS mode. And then you can also choose to use the keyboard with Bluetooth, or you can plug it in directly into your computer using the included cable. So this keyboard comes with a USB-C cable. The cable is pretty long, which is nice, and I really also enjoy that it's USB-C because it makes it more universal, and that's obviously going to be reversible now, and it just makes it really easy to charge the keyboard when you need to. And then if you do want to use it in wired mode, you will use this USB-C connector. This plugs into the keyboard, and then the USB-A connector will connect into your laptop. So if you do have a Mac that only has USB-C ports on it, then you won't be able to use this without some sort of adapter. You'll need a USB-C to USB-C cable to plug it directly into your laptop. But who are we kidding? Most of us are going to be using this in wireless Bluetooth mode anyway, because one of the most compelling features of this keyboard is that it's wireless, right? It's a wireless mechanical keyboard and it's compatible with Mac. So you can't really ask for much more than that. This keyboard is, simply put, amazing. I love it a lot, but that doesn't mean that it's for everyone. There are a few issues with this keyboard that could make it a deal breaker for some. But for me, I have overall enjoyed the keyboard a lot, and I am eagerly waiting to get the Keychron K2 when that starts shipping out really soon, actually. So I can't wait to go look into that. So let me tell you what I like about the keyboard. So first of all, it's very thin, right? It uses ultra thin, I think low profile blue switches. Now you can get red switches too, I believe, on the K1, but when I ordered it, you could only get blue switches. So you can see that here. It's very thin, low profile. You can really see how thin the switches are on the side here. And you can see just how slim and compact this keyboard is. It feels very premium in the hand. The quality is definitely very good, and the color is really cool too, right? It's a black finish, it's metal, it feels super solid, and it's just an amazing experience when you touch the keyboard. Now you will notice that the keys are flat, they're not rounded, so that may be a little bit annoying for some people because when you're typing on it, you have to type on flat keys, not rounded keycaps. I would have preferred rounded keycaps. The K2 will come with rounded keycaps. I'm not a fan of this flat style, especially with a mechanical keyboard. It can get a little bit slippery when you are typing. Now, like I said, this is for Mac and Windows, but since I use it with a Mac, I'm going to review it as a Mac keyboard. And it has all the function keys you would need for a Mac, including brightness, the window task manager switcher, your launch pad, your backlight for your keyboard, play, pause, your reverse, and your forward and backward soundtrack skipping and tracking. Your volume controls, and then it also has a dedicated screenshot button, so you don't have to press Command-Shift-4. It has a dedicated Siri button, so you can just click that to access Siri, and then it has a light button, so you can change the color pattern of the light. It's on the keyboard. So this is the RGB version I got, and I am really excited that I ended up going with the RGB version instead of just the regular white backlight. And let me give you a quick look at what the colors look like. So if we click on this light bulb here, you can see that the colors have turned on. So there are, I think, 18 different color patterns. So we can cycle through them quickly. And you can see that they can get pretty much as crazy and exciting as you could possibly want them to get. So another cool thing is that you can actually change the color of the backlighting here. So what you can do is click the FN key, the function key, and then the left and right arrow, and you can switch between all the solid colors that they offer. There is no dedicated white backlight that I could see, but if you look at this, this is a very light blue / teal color, and I think it serves as a pretty adequate substitute for just a strict white backlight. So I wasn't too worried about the fact that there was no white backlight, a dedicated white backlight, because you do get all these amazing colors, which are a ton of fun to play with. Okay, so another thing that I want to mention is that I did get the one with 104 keys, which has this keypad on the right here, which is something I've always wanted on a keyboard. But after using this keyboard for a couple of months now, I really wish I hadn't gotten this one. And the reason for that is because everything just feels shifted. You can see that your center, when you're typing, is your hands are going to be resting towards the left of the keyboard, which leaves this really awkward space on the right side when you're typing. So when you're putting this on your desk, it won't be centered on your desk. It'll be a little bit to the right on your desk, right? Because you want this to be centered, and then you have this part hanging out on this side. So the placement will look a little bit odd, and it just feels weird. It feels like there's just something that is offsetting your whole desk when you use it like this. Now granted, I mean, I think this would happen with on any 104 key layout, so it's not, if you are used to that, then I guess you would like this. I'm coming from the first generation Magic Keyboard from Apple, which looks like this. So I'm used to being very centered when I'm typing and having the keyboard exactly in the center of my desk and of my setup. So that was a little bit odd for me when I was using this keyboard, because I always felt like I had to shift it this way just so I could center it when I was typing. Furthermore, I don't really use the dedicated number pad that often, and I'm guessing most people don't either. If you're going for a mechanical keyboard, you're probably not going to have that much use for it. So I don't recommend you get it. You could save some money by just getting the regular version anyway without the keypad on the side, and I think you would be just fine. So let's talk about the typing experience, because that's incredibly important when you're getting a mechanical keyboard or any keyboard, right? So if you listen, and I'll type in a second, but it feels really nice to type on this keyboard. It doesn't feel like a traditional mechanical keyboard that you might be used to. It definitely does feel like it's a little bit different, and it is, I think, because of the low profile blue switches. But it still feels really nice to type with, and it's a huge upgrade from something that your Mac comes with or from one of the Apple Magic keyboards as well. So let's take a listen, and remember, these are blue switches, and you can see and hear what this keyboard feels like and sounds like. As you can hear, it sounded really clacky and very satisfying to type on. Now let's compare that to something like a chiclet style keyboard like the Apple Magic Keyboard first generation. Now you can hear that it's a little bit more subdued, the sound is a little bit more muted. It definitely feels like a chiclet style keyboard when you're typing on it, and it's probably what most Mac users have been accustomed to in the past. So definitely I prefer this mechanical feel on this keyboard. It definitely feels a lot more substantial, and it feels really great to type with. It really elevates, I think, and upgrades your typing experience, and I think that can make a huge difference. Now, one thing I do have to mention, though, that I have found to be an issue is that the keystroke registers before you're done pushing the key down. So you could just push the key down without making the clacking sound, and you can see it lit up and it registered it as a keystroke even though I hadn't finished pushing it all the way down. So I can show you that again. So I'm going to push the L, but you won't hear clicking sound because I'm not going to have a chance to push it down all the way, but it's going to register it as a keystroke anyway. So you can see I'm just bouncing my finger on the key and it's registering it as a keystroke. And it's connected to my laptop right now, and this is when I actually click it, you can hear the clack. But when I don't click it, click, no click. Now if you take a look at my laptop, you can see that I have indeed been pressing the L this whole time, right? So that's really frustrating because it happens sometimes when you're typing very quickly and it'll double click your key. It'll register it twice. So that can lead to errors when you're typing. Now, for many people, that can be a deal breaker, right? It's not something that happens with every key that you type, but it happens often enough where it is noticeable and it can become annoying at times, right? And I have had instances where I'm writing like an email or something to someone and it had so many keystrokes that were registering before I'd even finished pressing down the key in the email that I ended up just using the keyboard on my Mac. And so I think that can be a really big deal for someone, and I want to point that out. But for me personally, I think that even though it does take away from the typing experience, it still isn't bad enough for me to want to switch back to the keyboard I had before. And if you are using a laptop, then it's really not as big of a deal because you could always just type on your laptop keyboard for brief periods of time and then switch back. So that's just something that you should definitely keep in mind when you're getting the K1. Now, I'm really hoping that this won't be the case for the K2, so when I do get that product in hand, I will go over that and let you guys know if the K2 has the same issue, but I'm really hoping it doesn't. Now, the K1, like I said, you can get blue switches and red switches as of now. Maybe they'll add more switches later, and they may have added more switches by the time I've made this video. But I chose the blue switches because that was the only option they had at the time. And I was really excited because I actually wanted blue switches anyway. But if you are going to get these blue switches, and if you know anything about the switches, one thing to keep in mind is that it is going to be quite loud when you're typing. And it could be annoying for you if you want to be quiet, or if you're typing for a long period of time, you might become a little bit self-conscious that you're typing very loudly. I'll give you another example really quick of what it can sound like, just so that you recall how loud this keyboard can be. Now, if we compare that again to like a chiclet style keyboard, you're going to hear that the sound is a lot softer. Finally, the last thing I want to go over is the battery life on the keyboard. I haven't quantified how long the battery actually lasts on the keyboard, and I do use it every day when I come home and I hook up my laptop to my monitor. So the keyboard does seem to last for quite a while though on a single charge. I would say it would last maybe about a week and a half, maybe even a little bit more. But that's when I'm not using the backlight. So usually I don't have the backlight on when I'm typing. I only turn it on if I'm like in a dark situation or most of my lights are off and I want to see the keys. Then I will increase the brightness here. But there are different settings and color patterns like I said before. So maybe some color patterns use less battery than other color patterns. Like this one, the light only turns on when you touch a key, which is really cool. And I have to say the color patterns are really unique and you can change the colors of the color pattern. So like this one where the light turns on after you press a key behind it, you can change the color of that. So I can make it this blue color, or this is the rainbow right now, but you can switch it to make it green or yellow or red. So that's really neat. But most of the time I don't have a color pattern on, so I usually just have it on something like this, the solid color, and I switch it to usually the very light blue so it looks kind of white. So this one, and then I turn it off and I only turn it on when I need to. So I use it more like a traditional keyboard that you might find on your Mac that's backlit. Now, of course, you can go crazy with the color pattern, so that will affect your battery life. It could drastically take away from your battery life. But one thing that I do want to point out is that after, I think, 10 minutes of you not using the keyboard, it will disconnect itself from your laptop until you click a key again, and that's to conserve battery life. So that might sound a little bit annoying, but you don't have to like go into your Bluetooth settings and reconnect it or anything. You just have to press a key and it'll reconnect to your device. So I think it's actually a really useful feature, and I think it helps a lot with the battery life on here. I have found myself getting a little bit annoyed sometimes where I haven't typed for like 10 minutes, and then I just go to type really quick, and then it takes a second to connect again, and then I can start typing again. So you might find that issue to be a little bit annoying, but I don't think, again, that's a deal breaker for me, and if it's giving me extra battery life, then I'm all for it. Finally, the last thing I want to mention is the number of devices you can connect to. So over here, you can see that you can actually connect to 3 different Bluetooth devices. So you can see here that my Bluetooth light is off, but if I click function down here and then 1, my Bluetooth comes back on, and then I connect to my laptop. And so you can connect to 3 different devices simultaneously and switch between them, which is also an incredible feature. So overall, do I recommend this keyboard? Well, yes and no. So I would recommend it for sure if the K2 wasn't coming out. But if you are planning on getting a Keychron, I would wait until the K2 comes out and then you read some reviews or watch some videos about the K2 first to see how it stacks up against the K1. Now, with its aluminum design and build, the K1 seems like a very premium and compelling product, and starting at $74, it's actually pretty reasonably priced as well. But like I said, the K2 could fix a lot of issues that the K1 is experiencing. The K2 also offers more switches, including brown switches, which is actually the one I purchased. I'm going to be getting the brown switched K2, so I'm excited to see how that feels and compare it to the K1. So if you are really wanting a mechanical keyboard, I would definitely hold off just a little bit for the K2 because it is coming out soon. And I think right now if you wanted to order the K1 anyway, you would have to wait a while because I think they are on back order. When I ordered mine, it took about a month for it to come, so they're definitely not shipping them out right away. So overall, I'm very pleased with the K1 that I have right now. I think it is a pretty decent keyboard. I haven't tried a whole bunch of wireless keyboards in my lifetime, but based on what typing experience I've had with the Mac keyboards, especially the Apple keyboards in particular, designed for the Mac, I can say that this has been a joy to use, and I'm really looking forward to the K2. So let me know what you guys think of the K1. If you have any more questions that I didn't cover during my review, be sure to leave them in the comments if you want, and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the review, or give me a thumbs down if you didn't think this review was very helpful, and I will see you in the next video.